We have major breaking news right now. The CIA HQ is being swarmed by cops. SWAT has been deployed. My understanding is a very serious situation. A man with a gun was outside making threats and opening fire. I believe they say he was firing into the air, not targeting individuals, but we don't know exactly what's happening other than, it's getting insane out there. The escalation is getting absolutely insane. More Tesla dealerships have been attacked, this time in Chicago. There is a map from Newsweek showing all the different dealerships that were attacked. Jimmy Kimmel lightly insinuates people should, we got to be careful here. Jimmy Kimmel and Colbert both said, don't do it, with a wink, wink. Yeah, basically saying, go do it. Colbert was a bit more explicit in celebrating the attacks as the audience laughed and cheered as the left engages in overt acts of terror. You've got, from the highest levels, politicians cheering the demise of Tesla stock and its company. And then you've got the lowest levels, far left extremists, firebombing and torching buildings and even injuring themselves. Last night, the swattings once again continued. We have reports of a couple more individuals getting swatted on the right. Videos emerged of Owen Schroyer being brought out of his home, walking backwards with his hands extended in his boxers as he was also swatted, and things are starting to get a lot worse. As I was preparing this segment, which was the original title, of course, was that Pam Bondi says we are coming after the individuals engaged in this domestic terror, explicitly stating it's terror. News broke about CIA HQ. So suffice it to say, my friends, I think things are getting particularly hot in this country. I have seen nothing but escalation over the past several years. When everyone told me that it was insane to think things would escalate, I maintain. I believe Phil Labonte put it best when he said, there's no off-ramp. There's no reason to expect de-escalation. So we're going to get into all of this news. We'll track the breaking news, but shout out to Louder with Crowder and Mug Club, Steven Crowder. Thank you for the raid. This is the Rumble morning lineup. So yesterday, we were the #1 live stream in the country at the noon hour with a combined 85,000, but we had 65,000 on Rumble. That Rumble stream just by itself was the biggest live stream in the country. So the Rumble lineup is fantastic. And I want to give a shout out to Steven Crowder and the Mug Club crew for joining us and watching this hour. Of course, once we wrap towards 1 o'clock, we'll be sending you off to Jeremy Hambley of The Quartering and his show, which also hit #1 for its time slot. Amazing to see that Rumble has become has now this week held the top spot for almost every morning hour in live streams, becoming the premier destination for large live audience. So shout out to you guys. Don't forget to smash the like button. Share the show right now, everybody watching, if you really want to help us take over the airwaves and create a culture of meritocracy, responsibility, and calling out the extreme violence. Take that URL, share it with everyone you know, subscribe, smash that like button. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. And quick shout out to Cast Brew Coffee. If you guys want to buy, if you ever wonder what the best cup of coffee in the world tastes like, look no further. Castbrew.com. Appalachian Nights, Rise with Roberto, Stand Your Grounds. Check them out. Everybody's favorite is Appalachian Nights, of course. We've got Phil Labonte dressed like Santa Claus if you like a gingerbread coffee. And, of course, we have Rumble Premium. Use promo code TIM10 to get access to all of our premium content. You got to watch the Green Room show we do at rumble.com/TimcastIRL. It's fantastic. We hang out. It's not so family friendly. It's uncensored behind the scenes before the shows start every day. And it's, funny, I guess. Everybody's goofing off, having a fun time. And if you want to see what we're doing backstage and the conversations we have before the show, not as newsy, a little bit more cultural, check that out and join Rumble Premium. But again, my friends, smash that like button. I'll put it this way. I have discovered the means by which I can get the most likes imaginable. Every like is one more year to Fauci's prison sentence. I jokingly said that the other day and we got 17,000 likes. And I was like, okay, I think people like that joke. It works. If that's what motivates you, everybody, smash the like button. And then I'll send a text to my friends in the Trump administration. That's how many years they want. So here's the breaking news. And the reason I do think this is absolutely pertinent to the larger show I have for you guys is that the show prepared was going to discuss Pam Bondi and the declaration, not so much a declaration, but the statement, this is domestic terror. And then to show you the late night hosts gloating, essentially advocating for more. I say essentially because it is clear what their intentions are as the audience cheers them on when they make these statements. Now, they argue, Colbert says, I oppose the violence, and this comes from deep down in my CBS legal department. And everyone laughs, ha, 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 indicating he's only saying it because he has to, and we all know it. And they cheer when he says people are destroying private-owned Tesla vehicles. On top of that, yesterday we covered this on Timcast IRL. There is a map created by presumably far leftists, where the cursor is a Molotov cocktail, and it's a map showing Tesla locations, but also the private information of private Tesla owners. Yeah, regular guy, regular man or woman. People just own the cars. It is shocking how far this is going. On top of all this, we have what the left is describing as a looming constitutional crisis. Why? Well, Donald Trump, as he's deporting criminal aliens under the Alien Enemies Act, which he's allowed to do, they're arguing it's unconstitutional. That is to say, right now, federal judges are blocking nearly every move the president is making, which he is legally allowed to make, arguing that the president requires judicial and legislative approval before taking any actions. We knew there would be obstruction, but this is the administrative attack. Then we have the cultural attack, and then we have the physical on-the-ground violence erupting right now. The first story I have for you. High alert. CIA headquarters swarmed by cops over man with a gun as SWAT is called in just hours after JFK files were released. I don't know why they are adding that JFK files thing. It literally makes no sense. It's strange. We've got photos here from breaking news. Dozens of cops have swarmed CIA HQ. A man reportedly fired shots into the air and was heard making threats. Police and SWAT teams have shut down roads leading to the CIA campus over a threat to the facility, officials confirmed. We've got images here of appears to be SWAT and other police and law enforcement. A passerby of the incident called the police response massive, with an entire entrance to the Langley, Virginia HQ blocked off with police, military, and fire trucks rushing to assist. Journalist Andrew Layden posted on X that the subject has fired multiple rounds into the air. Understand, guys, what goes up must come down. Do not do this. This is serious violence. Those bullets come down somewhere. The CIA has confirmed that there were threats at the gate, which is less than 10 miles from D.C., but has yet to provide any further details. The CIA and local cops didn't immediately respond to requests for comment. A live stream of the incident on Facebook shows dozens of officers gather around the entrance with other vehicles surrounding the area. The attack comes just hours after President Trump released a portion of classified papers on the shooting of JFK. The 80,000 pages related to the fatal November shooting may provide insight into the decades-long unfounded rumors the CIA was involved in the shooting. Now, again, this is all speculative that they're adding onto the story. They should not be doing. The funny thing is these stories are breaking in UK outlets first. SWAT teams descend on CIA headquarters after man fires gunshots. Police have, and important to say, they sang into the air. Fairfax County Police Bomb Squad is in attendance with police rushing to the scene about 10:35 a.m. So this happened a couple hours ago. Fox 5 and ABC News are reporting the person was allegedly making threats outside the gate of the CIA headquarters. The incident unfolded at Georgetown Pike in the Dolly Madison Boulevard, about 8.5 miles northwest of D.C. The suspect was reportedly observed sitting on a bench near the facility while in possession of a firearm, local news reported. SWAT teams were said to have surrounded the man at gunpoint on the bench. It's unclear at this time whether the man has been detained or whether the crime scene negotiators were put to use. In a statement on X, Fairfax County Police said, traffic alert. Dolly Madison Boulevard is shut down in both directions between Georgetown Pike and Seville Lane in McLean for a barricade incident at CIA HQ. Our Special Operations Division is on scene assisting. Please follow police direction. The Virginia DOT Northern Virginia office confirmed road closures. So this is breaking, and these are the latest stories. I don't know if we have any developments. It looks like we do have a little bit of an update. They say images and videos posted online show several police vehicles in the area with at least 3 armored vehicles stationed at the front of the headquarters. They're going to mention the HQ employs around 20,000 individuals. So throughout the show, I will be checking for any updates as we go through the news. And should we have any major updates, we'll bring them to you. But let's get into the core of the story. Now, my friends, I will stress again, this is the story that I produced for the noon hour for all of you watching. And this is the domestic terror escalation that we're witnessing across the country. Pam Bondi saying that the Tesla vandalism is domestic terrorism. Now, I want to point out first, the New York Times says Bondi calls Tesla vandalism domestic terrorism. Please understand the game that is being played. This is important. The New York Times headline calls it vandalism. What is happening is that across the country, we are now looking at over more than 10, I'm not sure how many. We have another attack in Chicago. They are firebombing electric vehicles for political purposes. This is, dare I say, whether underground levels, we are entering the door of insurgency and terror. The New York Times should have titled this, Bondi decries domestic terror at Tesla dealerships. The default description of what we are witnessing is domestic terrorism, not vandalism. But it's been getting worse. We have the statement from Pam Bondi from justice.gov. Attorney General Pam Bondi released the following statement this evening regarding a spate of recent attacks on Tesla property. Quote, the swarm of violent attacks on Tesla property is nothing short of domestic terrorism. The Department of Justice has already charged several perpetrators with that in mind, including in cases that involve charges with 5-year mandatory minimum sentences. We will continue investigations that impose severe consequences on those involved in these attacks, including those operating behind the scenes to coordinate and fund these crimes. Newsweek has compiled a map which is not exhaustive. Tesla attack map shows wave of Elon Musk products being targeted. Now, I want to show you this clip. This is from the Las Vegas terror attack. You can see, I don't know if they have audio on this one. It's probably just music. So it just says several Teslas set on fire. Now, understand these are lithium-ion powered vehicles, lithium-ion batteries. These are metals. For anyone who missed high school chemistry, and I'm not trying to drag you guys. When you take lithium and you expose it to air, it oxidizes rapidly, heating up. If you expose it to water, it nearly instantly oxidizes and heats up. This is, I believe it's an exothermic reaction. And the very large lithium batteries in these cars, once they start on fire, are not put out by water, and air rapidly accelerates the burn. This is extremely, extremely dangerous. To be fair, it's one of the dangers of electric cars people have warned about for some time. So this targeted a couple of the vehicles in Las Vegas. This is overt terror that you are watching right now. This is what we are seeing escalate. Newsweek has the map. Take a look at the number of attacks we have seen so far. We've got Linwood in the presumably Seattle area. That's 2 in Washington. We've got what appears to be, I think I don't know if I can zoom in, but it appears there's 3 or more, actually. You've got Portland, you've got Tigard, and you've got Salem. So that's 5. Vegas, 6. Loveland, 7. Kansas City, 8. You've got North Charleston, 9. In Maryland, Owing Mills, 10. And 2 in New York, Dedham and Littleton. So that is 11 and 12. Not to mention, we have another story. Okay, so this is the Vegas one, and I think we've got Chicago. From the Post-Millennial, trans-identified male charged with vandalizing Chicago area Tesla service center. Now, while this is not the same as torching everything, it looks just like they went and damaged it. This is still terrorism. When you have people igniting vehicles and torching them, and then someone shows up and they spray paint it with that same ethos, that same ideology, it's a shot across the bow. The threat has been made, and the fear, the terror is instilled. To all the liberals and leftists, they want to downplay this and dismiss this. It's just spray paint. Calm down. The reason why there's burglary, there's assault, and there's aggravated versions of these crimes. Aggravated, and I don't know that this applies in every single jurisdiction, but I can tell you in Illinois, it is when you impose the fear of death in the act of committing the crime. So even using a replica firearm can still get you an aggravated charge. It is not about whether you actually had the capability to do so. It's about the terror you inflict upon the individual to commit that crime. This is terrorism. Now, by all means, the individual who got arrested on this, I don't expect to go to prison for the same amount of time as someone who torched a building, but I do expect there would be some severe penalties here. Now, we ask ourselves, my friends, why is this happening? Why is it escalating? I think the simple way to break it down is that this is like the ice bucket challenge of terror. Some have argued that these far leftists are organized, that they are, and through this organization, they're engaged in terror. Sort of. This is what I would describe as cultural phenomenon, an emergent phenomenon based on an ideology, or to be fair, the left doesn't really have a coherent ideology, but more of a zeitgeist, more of a cultural trend that emerges. What happens is Jimmy Kimmel goes on TV and winks at the camera. I'm saying that figuratively. I'll show you the video about vandalizing Tesla vehicles. Colbert lauds and jokes about it while the audience cheers him on, and he insinuates more people should do it. Individuals go on TikTok and other social platforms, and they see people getting credit and views, and they're being cheered on. It's the ice bucket challenge. One person didn't got 1 million views. Someone else says, I would like to play that game too. And here we are. Things are escalating to an extreme degree. There was an attack, and I believe it was in Boston, I'm not sure, where an individual set fire to several Tesla chargers. So I believe that the attacks we saw in the dealerships, this doesn't even include the charging stations and the vehicles that have been attacked. The individual spray painted "Long Live Ukraine." I asked this question on Timcast IRL, 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. And I asked, why does this man care about Ukraine? Honest question. Well, you, learned individual who pays attention to the news, you know they don't. You know that, dude, a 20-year-old guy, he didn't even hear of Ukraine 3 years ago. For what reason are far leftists committing acts of terrorism in the name of Ukraine? He spray painted "Long Live the Ukraine." It makes no sense. I couldn't imagine going back to the 2000s in the Bush era and a bunch of right-wingers going around destroying vehicles and French fries and then saying, "Long live Afghanistan, long live Iraq," or whatever faction was in those countries, going around destroying, smashing, vandalizing, torching dealerships, and then spray painting on the ground, "Invade Iraq, invade Afghanistan." It makes no sense. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of prominent individuals on the right supported our efforts in the United States to invade those countries. And the argument I had for many of the people who said they were for it, I'm like, you don't even know those countries you don't even know anything about this. Now we have individuals who've never heard of Ukraine advocating for involvement in war to the point where they've targeted electric charging stations. Well, the one thing I can say to you, my friends, is that we at least know they never cared about climate change. Climate change was always just a means to an end to control you and to funnel money into their NGOs that they probably have funneling money back into their politicians. Climate change. Got to do something. I got a couple clips for you. Let me show you what we are getting from late night TV hosts as they encourage this behavior. Oh, I'm sorry. I muted these people. I got to unmute these people.
Change. Our co-president down other than the stock market for a change. Our co-president, Elon Musk, sent a SpaceX vehicle to bring the astronauts back. And when they landed, he fired them immediately upon landing. Tesla stock is way down, almost disastrously so. People have been vandalizing Tesla vehicles, new Tesla vehicles. Please don't ever vandalize Tesla vehicles. And so...
And we get it. Why did the audience just laugh right now? What you need to understand is that in a court of law...
Elon Musk has been making the rounds in the right-wing media to try to appear to be a human being. Yesterday, he was...
In the court of law, a judge is going to interpret your intentions. And they can argue he's a comedian, he's making a joke. That's fine. I accept that. I don't expect Jimmy Kimmel to go to jail. I'm going to play the clip for you again.
Tesla stock is way down, almost disastrously so.
That's only kind of true.
People have been vandalizing Tesla vehicles, new Tesla vehicles. Please don't ever vandalize Tesla vehicles. And so Elon Musk is...
You get the insinuation he's trying to make. Now, again, he's a comedian, but the joke is you should. Now, okay, fine. What we see there is a prominent individual. His viewership ain't all that high, to be completely honest. I think he gets a couple 100,000. Seriously, it's that low. But he does get views on YouTube. I wonder what the sentiment is. I'm sure a lot of people are just like, you're nuts. But YouTube promotes him. Bravo, YouTube, but you're a part of the problem. And we get it. So long as prominent personalities like this are playing games and making jokes, it's okay to do. It's completely fine. It's funny, right? Here's Stephen Colbert.
That has led a lot of protests around the country at Tesla dealerships. Now, I want to be clear. I do not condone violence or vandalism of any kind. That is a deeply held belief of mine that comes from the bottom of my CBS legal department. With that in mind, I find it interesting that there's a growing trend of cyber trucks being vandalized and used as skate ramps or covered in garbage. That's interesting. To be fair, that might not be vandalism. That might just be a simple mistake because they do look a lot like a dumpster. Tesla owners are facing backlash everywhere they go. Recently, somebody stole the wheels from every single Tesla in a Texas parking lot. Whoever did it, I do not condone this, but I do appreciate your tireless efforts. What's this?
He won an award, ladies and gentlemen. The joke is he won an award over his pun encouraging people, praising the individual that stole all the tires from every Tesla vehicle in a dealership. Understand, those stories are not included in the list of attacks on Tesla dealerships. The list of recent Tesla attacks does not include, I believe it doesn't include, Texas is not even included here. So the story from Newsweek. Cybertruck set ablaze showrooms defaced and charging stations shot at. Okay, so it does include some of those. Newsweek has mapped out the attacks based on various news reports, police reports, and a letter to the DOJ and FBI. Tesla CEO Elon Musk, in his increasing influence in the White House under President Trump, appears to have made his electric vehicle company a target for political backlash after he was appointed to lead the newly created Department of Government Efficiency, an initiative tasked with cutting government spending and not an actual government department. The department is the U.S. Digital Service, which they jokingly call the U.S. Doge Service. They say no serious injuries have been reported so far, and the most recent attacks occurred at a Tesla collision center in Vegas. So when is this story from? Because this is dated. Yeah, this is from this morning, and they're wrong because we have this. And I think we might have another. That's the Doxing website. I also want to make sure I stress for those that are just tuning in, the news around the Swattings is getting more intense. The post-millennial trans-identified male charged with vandalizing Chicago area Tesla service center. Spray painted on the outside of the building in white paint were the phrases, "Trump sold us, F Elon Musk, and trans rights are human rights." A trans-identified male has been arrested and charged with vandalizing of a newly built Tesla service center in Buffalo Grove, Illinois. This is a suburb of Chicago. This comes as Tesla dealerships and service centers have been the targets of increasing attacks across the country. Aaron L. White, previously known as Evan T. White, has been charged with felony criminal damage to property and misdemeanor criminal trespass, per the Chicago Sun-Times, and is scheduled to appear in court on Wednesday. White was arrested on Friday. Spray painted on the outside of the building and in the area were those phrases. According to the Arlington Cardinal, White lives within a half mile of the service center and works as a bartender. White is accused of disregarding the no trespassing sign posted along the fence. Yes, we get it. They trespassed before they committed the terrorism. It's the latest incident at a Tesla service center in recent weeks, with dealerships and centers across the country being targeted with vandalism and attacks. On Tuesday, Attorney General Pam Bondi declared that the attacks in the Tesla buildings were domestic terror. Quote, "The swarm of violent attacks on Tesla property is nothing short of domestic terror." We did read that statement earlier. Others arrested for separate attacks on Tesla buildings include trans-identified male Lucy Grace Nelson, who was accused of vandalizing and placing incendiary devices at a Colorado dealership, and Adam Matthew Langsky, a trans person who was accused of launching several firebombing and shooting attacks aimed at an Oregon dealership. I do not understand why so many of these attacks were perpetrated by trans individuals, but that is the news as being reported. So take with that what you will. A big story that broke last night is that there is a doxing website. I am not going to reveal any information pertaining to the name of this website because I do believe the post-millennial as well as many other stories, list the name of this site, which I do not believe they should be doing. The website features a Molotov cocktail cursor exposing the personal info of Tesla owners. Not to mention Doge staff, charging locations, dealerships, and the icon is a Molotov cocktail. Now, one might argue that they have free speech. When I looked up the Whois data for the website, it is a privacy service restricting that information. That's normal. But I believe the FBI likely will subpoena this information and get it instantly. Because you can't, in my view, argue peaceable for free speech when the icon is a Molotov cocktail. When you go to click on the vehicles of private owners at a time when vehicles are being shot up. That's the crazy story. I believe that was the one of the stories. Here we go. Right. The reason why I pulled up this NBC story about the Las Vegas attack is that it wasn't just fire. Tesla vehicles set on fire and shot with a gun in Vegas. So it wasn't just. There's more than this. And it's not the only dealership that people have taken guns and fired at. Eventually, it's not, it's, I say this, it won't be funny to these comedians, to Jimmy Kimmel, when someone defends their property back with a gun. And in places like Nevada, you might actually see that happen. Anyway, I forgot where I was going when I switched to the NBC story to reference these shootings. But the point ultimately is the escalation is clearly upon us. The celebrities are cheering it on. They're advocating for more. It has become a trend among these individuals to escalate the violence against people and property. And they're laughing about it. Elon Musk rescued those stranded astronauts from the space station. It was amazing to watch. On Fox News, they broadcast live as the pod drops down, the parachutes deploy, and then it makes splashdown. And the speedboats come in to pull the astronauts out. It was truly incredible. And I think someone on Fox News made the point. In the past, we as a nation would all tune in to watch this moment of astronauts returning to Earth. Not now. Now they mock Elon Musk for saving their lives. They lie. These individuals that were in space were supposed to be up there for about a week, and it turned into 9 months. And, well, many people argue it's because Joe Biden did not want to work with Elon Musk. And SpaceX could have got these astronauts back to Earth right away. But they wouldn't do it. And so instead, they left him up there. Some other, I believe it was another astronaut, gave a statement saying that prolonged exposure to microgravity, basically being in space for too long, can result in pain in the body. And when they come back to Earth, they feel it's difficult for them to stand up and walk and move around. It's quite crazy. Now, additionally, I would be remiss if I didn't round out the last portion of the Jimmy Kimmel clip where he once again mocks Elon Musk. This is the strangest thing.
He's been making the rounds in the right-wing media to try to appear to be a human being. Yesterday, he was guest of honor on the Ted Cruz podcast, where Sweaty Teddy, Ted Cruz seems, everything he knows about technology seems to come from movies he's seen. Ted asked Elon a question about the dangers of AI.
Is Skynet real? Like you get the apocalyptic visions of AI. How real is the prospect of killer robots annihilating humanity?
20% likely. Maybe 10%.
On what time frame?
5 to 10 years.
He's going to try to get that down to 3, but...
I had an idea. We over here at the at Booney's HQ, which is the skate park just behind me, we got skateboards. You can pick them up. We got the old right to armrest. I was thinking, after watching Jimmy Kimmel, Mike Judge had it right. In the future, all we want to watch is Ow My Balls. You guys get the reference? I told the crew at the Boonies, can we just throw a football at Andy's junk? And then, that's the video. We'll get 1 million views. That's what people want to watch. I'm actually only half kidding. I think we're probably going to go do that later. But my point is this. Elon Musk is having a serious conversation with Ted Cruz. Everything is always in opposition. That's all it is. It's a very serious conversation that people are having around AI. Are we going to have a Terminator-like scenario? It's all a joke. No matter what is being said, no matter how serious, it's all a joke, ridicule, mock, and disdain. Here's where it ends up. We'll jump back to the stock question in a little bit. I did want to bring up the Tesla stock because that is the more overt attack on Elon. They're targeting his dealerships. That's going to result in a stock drop off. We'll just go through this one quickly. It's a point I wanted to make. Tim Waltz says this.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So.
What? First of all, I would like to stress when Elon Musk was buying X, Tesla went down to, I think, like 130 or something like this, or even lower than that. Let me check real quick because I can actually check just how bad. What Tesla's up? Oh, Tesla's way up. Oh, they're 5%. Looks like people are buying the dip. Yeah, it went down to like 113 or something. And when they started going after Tesla stock, because Tesla was trying to buy X, I bought the dip, yo. I was like, dang, it was down from like 300. And I was like, they're undervaluing it for stupid reasons. What I would say is this. They're attacking Tesla dealerships and they're attacking the company at the surface level. They are trying to destroy Elon Musk for opposing their political view. They're terrorists. And there's no one really to go after. It's not illegal for Tim Walz to say these things, for Democrats to say these things. But we know what they're doing. And as a collective, it's pretty scary, isn't it? If a single individual sought to manipulate the stock of Tesla for nefarious reasons, political or otherwise, you go to prison. But when a giant collective of individuals in the country are doing it actively, not one snowflake in the avalanche will face any penalty for it. Now, in a riot, you do. But this is all about trying to destroy Elon Musk. This is the overt level. Beneath this, from WMBF News, quote, "This isn't a game. Horry County conservative influencer target of latest swatting hoax." It's getting worse, my friends. A high-profile personality in the Grand Strand is reeling from what he claims a politically motivated act of attempted violence against him and his family. Chad Caton said he woke up to a scary, unnecessary swatting at his home around 3 a.m. in the Arrowhead community. And then, of course, we have Owen Schroyer, who posted these videos. He says, "I was swatted," followed with videos from the swatting. So here's one video. You can see armed police officers approaching his house. They bring him out of his home in his shorts. Look at this. Here's the next video. And they have him put his hands on his head. This is crazy. And put his hands out. And he holds his hands out and up.
Put your hands up.
Can I just record this?
Drop the phone. Put your hands up.
Can I just record this?
Drop the phone. All of our cameras are running, brother.
All right, I assure you, this is a non-starter, gentlemen.
The collar of your shirt from the back. Hey, I got top side. You ain't need that front door. Keep your
This is
shirt
crazy.
like that and rotate slowly.
You want me to take my
Keep your
shirt?
hands up.
Wow.
I have nothing. You want me to take my shirt?
The collar of your shirt from the top. Pull up. Rotate. 360. Turn. Slowly. Turn.
So they made him take his shirt off. And I want to stress this. Owen, buddy, I appreciate that you were recording, but dude, do not walk outside with a bunch of armed men with guns holding an object in your hands like this. I want to give a shout out to my good friend, Luke Rudkowski. Luke, you know what you did. I'm going to tell everybody. We were covering a protest in Chicago 13 years ago. We get surrounded by like 12 vehicles, black unmarked cars and cops. They approach our car with their guns drawn, and Luke sticks his hand out the window with the phone in one hand. And I'm like, oh my God. He's okay. I'm glad we're laughing about it now.
Slowly. Stop. Put your hands up. Put your hands on the back of your head. You're going to walk backwards to the sound of my voice. Start walking.
Wow.
Keep walking. Backwards towards the sound of my voice. Stop.
This is crazy.
Get on your knees.
Just so you guys know, I'm home alone. This is a false police report.
Start crawling back towards the sound of my voice.
Okay, look, I got to say, it is of the utmost importance that Owen Schroyer was able to capture this on film. There's still a few more minutes. I'm going to keep playing it. We keep hearing these stories of these swattings, but people genuinely do not understand what it is like. Now, we here at Timcast, we got swatted 15 times. It was a big story. It kept getting reported because it kept happening. But understand, we're an office. Even our old location, it's a massive property with more than one building on it. And so when the police arrived, they're pulling up to a work environment where there are people outside doing work. In fact, two people who worked at the time, Brett and Andy, who's no longer working. We have a different Andy here now, but the other Andy, he's no longer here. They were outside, I think, having just finished skating after their work day, because this was around, I think, 7 or is it 8 something. And the police pull up and see two guys just like walking in a parking lot, and they draw their weapons on them and say, "Put your hands up and approach the vehicle." This insulated us here in the facility because we're buried deep in a building you can't just walk in and get to. Not to mention, the doors are secured to the studio for security reasons. Yeah. Anyway, now, with people like Owen Schroyer and other conservatives being targeted, this may be like, what, the 20th or so swatting, targeting conservatives? I have to stress, guys, if you're listening, you need to call your local police departments and give them your address. This is the first thing we did. We immediately told them what was up. We said, when I was living in Jersey, we did this. Walked right to the police station, said, "Here's my info. Here's who I am. We're concerned about swattings, other false reports. Here, go for it, buddy. Like, here's our information. Here's my personal phone number." When it happened in Maryland, we were getting swatted. But understand, people assumed this meant they were kicking our doors in every time. That's not what was going on. Let me play the rest of this video, assuming it is still pertinent to the story.
You got it, guys. Whatever you need. Whatever you need.
Hey, we hear you, bro. What's got to do?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Look, man, you've got, how many flashlights do we see there? 3? 4? These guys, and we saw in the video, they have guns trained on the door. And Owen walks out holding a phone. That is a scary prospect, buddy. I'm glad you're okay.
Sorry, guys. It's like whatever you need. Keep going. Now lay on your stomach.
He says, lay on your stomach.
Lay on your stomach. Put your hands out like an airplane.
Put your hands out.
Put your palms up towards the sky.
You can see his hands right here on the left. Put them towards the sky.
Yes, sir.
This is insane. This is terrorism. Whoa. Did you say you're going to get tased? I don't know. It sounded like something like, if you do this, you'll get tased. This is crazy. There's about a minute left, and I'm wondering what else we have in this video, so bear with us. This is massive, what is currently going on. But for those that are just listening right now, they're flashing the light towards the front of the building. You can hear sirens, and you cannot see any of the other officers. We can see the officer walking back into frame. And I'm wondering if at some point we'll see them bring Owen back up. I'll jump forward a little bit. Right, so it's a lot of the same. I don't want to just play dead air. You can see there's 2 officers lowering the flashlight. Another officer raises the flashlight as they approach the building and are now approaching the house.
Police department, make yourself known! Police department, come to the front door!
Wow.
Not so much over here. Police department, come to the front door, your hands up and empty! It's the only way I can guarantee your safety! Okay, yeah, I'm good.
And that's it. This just happened to Owen Schroyer. This may be the 20th or so swatting attack, and you can see that Owen's got what appears to be some kind of a security camera at his house. Guys, what do you think is going to happen? The way things are going, the escalation that we're seeing, I've never seen it this bad in my life. Last night, the question, I think Libby asked, Libby Emmons of the Post Millennial, do you think 2020 was worse, or which do you think is worse? This is worse. I understand that in 2020 we had mass riots, the worst we'd seen in decades. But this was it was indiscriminate. It was rioting. You could go in your house and you could secure yourself. What worries me is not the wanton disregard of the law, the violence. That worries me for sure. But I'm saying right now, it is the targeting of political enemies. We've had the conversation around civil war for some time. I didn't make it up. And today, it is predominantly the left and liberals who are advocating for or calling or saying they predict a second civil war is coming. There are numerous articles entertaining the process. We have one from the Times of Israel. Is a second U.S. civil war imminent? This from January 6th of this year. If you go on Reddit and peruse any of the liberal or leftist subreddits, you can see they mention civil war almost every other day. In 2020, as we feared with the riots, potential for civil war, it still was the targeting of government under Donald Trump. And Trump did not invoke the Insurrection Act. It was rioting. Now, riots happen, civil strife periods. Today, we have now escalated to the far left is intentionally trying to murder people on the right. We saw that, don't get me wrong, in 2020. Aaron Danielson took 2 to the chest when an individual, I think his name was Michael Reinl, walked up to him for no reason and shot him twice. Shocking. In those riots, we saw indiscriminate violence, but it was chaos. So it is bad. But when I look at what's going on now with the targeting of conservatives, with the vandalism and rioting and the arson, the terror, we are looking at a left focusing in on who it will attempt to destroy. Bill Burr, comedian, celebrates Luigi Mangione, accused of murdering a man in cold blood. Bill Burr said he tells his audience that billionaires, I'm not going to repeat what he said, but he called for the death of billionaires. He called for them to be killed. You then have Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert mocking and laughing at this idea that these vehicles are being attacked, vandalized, and these acts of terror are occurring. People are starting to change the logos on their vehicles. They're putting stickers on their cars saying, I bought this before I knew. Individuals are getting arrested and charged with felonies for damaging Tesla vehicles. It is escalating rapidly. My question to all of you right now watching, comment. Does it stop here? Because I got to tell you, I don't think we're so naive. Now, of course, the left will come out and say, see, Tim, he wants it to happen. I don't want it to happen. Bro, I got a skate park right behind me. I want a skateboard. I want to go hang out. I want to put on music videos, skate around, get some exercise, put butter on a Pop-Tart, and goof off. And throw puppet versions of my friends in the air and just be silly. We want to hang out and have fun and make jokes. Now, I know some people say, oh, that's childish. No, you get my point. My point is we want life to be so good that we chillin', that we're so bored we're goofing off all day. How about this? I want to sit down and watch movies with my wife and child and not have to worry about whether or not a cop is going to approach my house, guns drawn, when my baby is sleeping. And then I'm going to have to deal with this and my family have to deal with this. We don't want to live in that world. But what we're seeing now with this escalation, it's not even spring. It's not even summer. The escalation is always the worst in summer when it's warm out and you get a crisp night at 70, 75 degrees and people go outside with comfort. When it's cold, people stay home. The degree of violence that we're seeing right now targeting specific individuals, let me ask you something. They're targeting Tesla dealerships. Do you think they'll stop there? They're swatting people's homes. If they're willing to torch a privately owned Tesla vehicle, why not the vehicle owned by a conservative personality whose address they got? Why would they not start going and attacking private homes? What happens when they do? Tell me the distinction you see between a dealership for Tesla. There are private vehicles parked because they're getting service done. And I think it was in the Pacific Northwest. I think it was the Portland area. Someone shot these vehicles up. If they're willing to SWAT people in their homes, trying to get police to murder them, I mean, I'm going to say it. We were extremely close to Owen Schroyer being dead. There was a man, I think it was in Wichita. He was playing video games. Some guy who was playing with got pissed and said he was going to SWAT him, and he said, screw off, something like that. police are outside his house. He walks outside, no idea what's going on. The police shot and killed him. Owen Schroyer walked out of his house holding a phone, filming. If these cops were told there's a man with a gun and what these SWATers do, they'll say things like, if you come here, I will do this thing. The police are then told, be prepared. He's threatened to attack anyone who shows up. What happens when Schroyer walks out holding a phone in his hand and then he turns? I mean, this could have been the end of his life. What I see with all this, why would it end here? They're willing to target your homes. Why not personally? They're willing to target Tesla dealerships and go to prison and commit felonies for doing so. It is an emergent phenomenon among various factions that are pushing, calling for more, and it's because they're insane. They don't know what Ukraine is. They don't know why they support Ukraine. They don't care. It is a murmuration. It is a flock of birds flying in random directions, just following each other around aimlessly. Okay, to be fair, murmurations probably serve some point, but this doesn't. So what I end up seeing is, as Trump or Pam Bondi, the DOJ, Cash, Dan, when they go and arrest some of these people, what do you think is going to happen? The perp walk will be the ice bucket challenge. They will be celebrated like Luigi Mangione. The people on the left will cheer and clap and say that person's a hero. YouTube will prop those videos up on the front page, knowing full well what they're doing. I got a question for you. On Timcast IRL, we often tell people, don't make allusions to violence. We don't tolerate that because we've had people on the show say things like, the left, I want to paraphrase here because I don't want to repeat anything, but they'll say something like, leftists believe this. That's what they believe. And if they really believe that, they would do that. They would do Y. And I'm like, okay, you literally just told leftists to go commit that crime. No, I didn't. You literally said to the left, if you believe this, you would do this. Like when Hassan Piker said, if you cared about health care, you would, to a sitting senator. I'm not going to repeat what he said. YouTube will ban you in 2 seconds for this. We've had episodes taken down for much less. We were told by YouTube that advocating for the death penalty could get your episode pulled. Yeah. Yet we have Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert mocking and laughing. I suppose what's the issue? They're not telling people directly to go do it, but they're laughing about doing it. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel, we know what his intention was. It's because YouTube is part of the problem. 100%. So where do we go, man? I think this summer is going to be particularly hot, and I hope you guys are paying attention to what this ultimately means for everybody. I don't know if it means you should, look, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life or what to do, because I don't know. I can tell you, if you're a conservative personality to any size, you need to be in contact with your local law enforcement immediately. Owen Schroyer should have got swatted. Owen, and I mean this, he should have called the local police department and said, hey, I'm a conservative personality. I host a TV show. There's been a lot of swattings going on. I want to give you my address. And then what would have happened is 2 guys would have showed up, knocked on the door. Owen would have said, who is it? They would have said, police. Is Owen Schroyer? It's me. And they'd say, we got a call. Is something wrong? No. Can you open the door? Sure. And then he would have been standing there and they'd be like, everything's good. Everything's good. Not only that, you give them your phone number and they call you. And they say, is this Owen? Yes, it is. We got a call about your house. Nobody's here. Can we come by and check? Absolutely. You can come and check. I'll be waiting for you on the front of I'll be waiting for you sitting on the stoop. My hands will be empty. Come on by. For us, we are at Timcast. We have armed security guards. We have companies. So I've stressed this too. Bigger companies tend to be more insulated from these attacks because, I think it's easy to state. Not that I like to give away too much information. This one's just so patently obvious. I think it's fine to say. I won't expose all of our security protocols because some of them are secret. But when people make these phone calls to local police, let me tell you what the local police do. They get on the phone and someone says, I'm at this address. I'm going to do this thing. They go, okay, interesting. Then they look over and they say, hey, call, so-and-so security over at the address. And then the guy picks up his phone and goes, hey, Bill, what's going on, man? And Bill's like, hey, Jim, what's happening? It's like, hey, we got a call about your address. How's it going over there? Security guard says, all good on my end. What's going on? And say, well, we got a SWAT and call again. Yeah, nope, we're chilling. Show's happening. Employees are fat and happy and everyone's having a good time. And the cop says, cool, just checking in. Grabbing beers later? Yeah, man, hit me up after I'm done with the shift and then we'll go out and have a drink. Security guards are often retired cops, sometimes off duty, and the security companies have personal relationships with the local police departments because they are private security companies. It's literally what they do. Because they are securing a property, they need to have a direct line to police so they can secure the property. Somebody breaks in, they call directly and say, hey, this is Tom with whatever company. We got to break in. We need assistance immediately. Direct lines are important. Swatting doesn't work on big companies. It's really stupid. That's why for all of the personalities that are working out of their houses or don't have their homes secured, you got to take this seriously. I'll tell you guys, additionally, something that's a lot of people don't understand. And then we'll go to your Rumble rants. And don't forget, Jeremy with the quartering coming up in 10 minutes. Smash that like button. Share the show. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. But I want you guys to realize the sacrifices made by the personalities you guys love so much. Steven Crowder. Shout out to Steven Crowder for the lineup and the raid to my show and helping promote my show. I'm eternally grateful to the work that you've done. I'm a big fan, and I appreciate all the Mug Club members and fans who have decided to watch my show and give me that chance. It really does mean a lot to me. I want you guys to understand what Dan Bongino goes through, what Steven Crowder goes through. You can't just go out for a bite to eat. Sometimes, depending on where you live, you have to hire men to stand outside your home while you sleep for swatting purposes, acts of terror, violence, vandalism, or otherwise. And as these moments escalate, and we see more and more of this, I just hope you guys that are watching take your own security seriously. But do just like, I'm not saying, I don't know. I'm just saying this. No matter who they are, no matter how big of a personality, the dangers that come with this job today are getting crazy. Look, I don't want to see Rachel Maddow get hurt. I think she's funny to watch. She's nuts. And she should be allowed to say her stupid things, and then people stop watching and they don't watch her anymore. That's the way it should be. Chuck Schumer canceled the tour apparently because he's got security concerns. I don't want to see any of these people get hurt. But I got to tell you guys, it's not and never been the right that's doing these things. Leftists tend not to need security from right-wingers. It's just not a reality. Nick Fuentes needs security to protect him from them, of all people. They claim that he's the guy directing all the hate, and everybody hates him, and he's got a big audience, and they harass people. And despite all of the arguments about Nick Fuentes' Groyper fans and the harassment or whatever, it is not these leftists that are hiring armed guards and spending $500,000 to $1 million per year so they can sleep at night. It's the right. It is the left that is engaged in violence consistently for the past decade plus. I mean, it's been longer than that, don't get me wrong. The Weather Underground existed. So here we are today with questions of whether or not a second civil war will happen. You know, I didn't know if we'd see it with a Democrat administration. The fear was the right was just going to keep playing procedure and the left would be violent and authoritarian and you'd get a Chinese communist style government. But Trump won because y'all stood up, spoke up, helped people like Scott Pressler and Charlie Kirk and made that difference. But now, as Donald Trump seeks to do what he's authorized to do, deport criminals, secure our borders, negotiate tariffs and trade agreements, determine who can be in the military, every step of the way, they are seeking to obstruct him, arguing that it's unconstitutional, that he doesn't have the authority. So we have administrative obstruction. You already had 2 attempts on his life, plus a foreign attempt, so 3. You have his supporters being attacked, attempts against his lawyers and personnel. Steve Bannon even facing charges from these corrupt partisan courts. The Democrats, the liberals, and the leftists have crossed the line, crossed the Rubicon a long time ago. What we want, and I know you agree, is de-escalation and peace so we can drive around in our stupid electric cars, so we can watch the game and order chicken wings and just have a better economy. That's why y'all voted for Trump. I fear what we're seeing from the left and Democrats will just be escalation. So I do want to grab some of your Rumble rants, but I would also say, my friends, smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. We got Jabba Dubrider, Rumble rant, says, the raids aren't working, right? I'm going to tell you the most important thing. I don't know exactly how they're working. They are working to a certain degree. But what is working is each and every one of you guys. You are working. We don't need a technological function to change the world by building the biggest shows in the country. It is because you guys watching were told. Steven Crowder says, guys, thank you for watching. Why don't you go watch Tim Pool? And you said, let's do it. And you came to watch my show. That choice has set a trend that the Rumble lineup, the morning show on Rumble, now has all of the top shows, the largest live streams for the morning slots. Now, don't get me wrong, Kai Cenat, he kills it. He gets like 300,000 sometimes. That's amazing. Bravo to him. He's a funny guy. He is. It's fun. For news and politics, Rumble owns the space. The largest news live streamer, period. But it's because you guys care and you make that choice. So I'd ask you to join Rumble Premium to make sure that we win that cultural battle. Use promo code TIM10 if you haven't already. And you can join our Discord server at timcast.com. Let me grab more of your Rumble rants because I don't want to leave you guys hanging. D42992 says, I'm a man of my word. Here is your tip for proving the term sneaky effort to be true. Harry Sisson is a monster. Yo, I got a video on Harry Sisson coming up in a few minutes. I say no mercy. Sneaky effort is a real term. I didn't make that up. I think I learned it from probably Brett Weinstein. I think it was the Weinstein, because aren't they evolutionary biologists? I think they're the ones who taught me that. Indeed. Shane H. Wilder says, this is the worst than anything I've seen. The riots of the summer of love pale in comparison, and spring doesn't even start until tomorrow. Be careful out there. Indeed. It's worrying, guys. You know, I really do worry about this stuff. I'll also add, before I grab the next Rumble rant super chat from you guys, for every like we get on these videos, each like represents a year in prison for Dr. Fauci. Or how about this? A year in prison. No, I think Dr. Fauci should go to jail. It's like, we know Newsweek reported he committed perjury. All right, here we go. What do we have here? Omega says, our country needs us. It's time to do our duty. I say we did. I think we did. And now I think we need to take care of ourselves now. We did our duty in 2024. We voted for Donald Trump. Donald Trump brought in Kash Patel. He brought in RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard. And now we've got Dan Bongino. Guys, can you believe this? When they said Matt Gaetz for AG, I bought champagne. With all due respect to Matt and Kash, when they said Dan Bongino, deputy director of the FBI, that's when we knew it was on. Like, Kash is great. Kash was like, we trust this guy. He's going to do a good job. He's the best choice. I'm proud to say that I advocated for him. He's a good dude. Dan Bongino is the tip of the spear, baby. Dan Bongino is a general on the front lines, storming the gates. That is exciting. And it is truly incredible that Dan was willing to give up one of the largest shows in the world to do his civic duty. That is impressive. Let's see what we got. Heron Gaming says, how likely do you think it'll be until militias from both sides start to form and hot conflict erupts? Given the events thus far, I give it 30%. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I don't want it to. But militias have already formed. I think that's something that people need to understand. The left already has groups like Red Guard. There's various Antifa cells, right? It's not just that we're going to wait and eventually there's going to be some, groups forming and popping up. They already exist. So I'll show you this real quick because there's something really interesting. Alt History subreddit 2 weeks ago. They said, how would Reddit react to a modern civil war in the USA? And, it might be silly, but it is interesting to see these false images. I say they're false, but like not really satirical, but imagined, because you can see the comments. And I think while it's fake and it entertains a reality where, Harris Biden refused to quit and things like that, even though we all know they did. Thank God Democrats are willing to stand up. It basically takes a look at the current left-right paradigm and then creates news stories. Someone just made this and he was like, here's how they'd react. And it's really interesting to see because I think people need to understand how normal it is, how normalized it is. That's what I find to be truly worrying. What you ultimately have is the stories we see today about Tesla dealerships and Charlie Kirk saying this is a ridiculous acts of terrorism, it's a tweet. And then you go and you take a look at these fictional versions and you're like, man, if it really did get to that moment where it was truly civil war, the posts would look very much the same. It's crazy. For people who don't understand what true war looks like, I think things like this are interesting. My friends, you got to go watch Jeremy at the Quartering live right now. We are going to raid his stream. So smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. And did it go? Here we go. Confirm the raid. Everybody watching right now on YouTube and Rumble, you can. I'll post the link in the chat. But go to rumble.com, download the Rumble app, and subscribe to this channel so you get notifications every time we get up a video and go live, because Rumble actually notifies you. And we'll be winding things down. I've got more segments coming up throughout the day, and I really do appreciate all of your support. I'm going to keep this going just for another 10 seconds or so to say, go watch the Quartering right now, and I'm going to post the link to his stream right there in Rumble for you guys. And we'll pin that. So for those that don't get the raid, you can easily just click that link. And then again, seriously, guys, thank you so much for joining this show. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you, Steven Crowder, Jeremy. Thank you, Dan Bongino, and everybody else in the Rumble lineup. Viva Frey, shout out, Russell Brand. And thank you to everybody for making the Rumble lineup the biggest morning lineup in the country. Thanks for hanging out. We're back tonight at 8 p.m. Rumble.com/TimcastIRL. Don't miss it. It's going to be fun. We'll recap the news, and we'll see y'all there.